All right, folks, welcome back. It's day 2 of NBA free agency, and we got some big ones. Some big news to discuss. And this is take 3. Had a phone notification go off beginning of both of my previous recordings. Hopefully, that won't happen now. Anyway, so the biggest news of the day is that Boston trades Jaylen Brown to Paul George. I'm sorry, to the 76ers for Paul George and draft capital. Now, this is really interesting because the rumor initially were that Boston and Miami were the only destinations for Giannis, and they were trying to use Jaylen Brown to acquire Giannis. Instead, they go for an older, less good Paul George. So many Boston fans, I imagine, are not quite happy with this deal. Jaylen Brown, Finals MVP, led the team in scoring last year without Jason Tatum, and they basically got a much older player who's definitely on the decline, often injured. He was suspended, I believe, 25 games, something like that, for using a banned substance. So, yeah, not sure I understand the rationale for this one. Maybe things were so bad between them that they felt that they had to trade him, but man, I don't know. I don't know about that. Oh, and the other big trade that happened, the Lakers did a sign and trade for Walker Kessler. So now they have their center that they've been wanting for some time, and all it cost them was pretty much the rest of their first round picks that they had, and most of their pick swaps. So the Lakers basically are going all in on Luka and Austin Reeves and Kessler, and we'll discuss some of the other moves they made in a moment. And I think this is a big move, at least as a Knicks fan. Boston is a team that signs away Mitchell Robinson from the Knicks. So he was our longest tenured player. He's seen the worst of times and the best of times with us. So we'll miss him. At the same time, it's like, damn, man, you had to go to Boston? What can you do? Now look at the media moves, which some of these, man, so big, these are big in the sense that, a lot of money, stars, big names, close to my heart, future ramifications. But these moves could also be quite big too. So Lakers signed a lot of guys. So Quentin Grimes, former Knick, this will be his 5th team. It's official. They signed him for 4 years. Reasonable contract. He's a solid, solid shooting guard. Uh, Solid 3-and-D guy, I guess. Not even in his prime yet. You'd hope. Yeah. So guy they needed. I think I mentioned in the last video he'll likely replace Marcus Smart for them. They also signed Mamu. Not gonna butcher his name. So now they have a backup big that can stretch the floor. They also signed Colin Sexton, I guess, to be their 6th man. It's a good role he excels in. So these moves on their own are pretty solid. It's just they gave up so much for Walker Kessler. I don't understand it. I understand it, but at the same time, it's like, damn, if Luka leaves, they're so they're not looking good. But draft picks be damned, I guess. So the Pistons, they sign John Collins to be, I guess, their new starting power forward, replacing Tobias Harris. So John Collins, he's a bit younger than Tobias. He can shoot. He's more of an offensive player, not that great at defense, but they need shooters. And let's look at his numbers real quick. I'm gonna look at let's go real quick. So let's look at John Collins. I actually don't remember what he shot last year. So John Collins, he shot 40% from three. He's always been on pretty low volume, just under three threes per game for his career. So that might need to go up while on the Pistons. So yeah, I think they're hoping that he can help them in that regard. Oops, we'll get to that later. Another notable trade. This happened pretty recently. The Grizzlies trade Santi Aldama and the rights to Tarek Biberovic. I tried. To the Mavericks for AJ Johnson. I believe I got his name right, I hope. And some draft capital. I believe a Warriors first rounder, and which is top 20 protected, and 2 second rounders. So they get a young, cost controlled forward and a I was say Siberian, a Serbian player who I believe is 25 right now. So, two guys at the same age. So, we'll see if this guy becomes something. Don't mind that trade for them. Surprising for me, and I'm sure for many, Norman Powell signs with the Bulls. So, yeah, interesting. Interesting. Surprised he went there. Rockets acquire Marcus Smart. Excuse me. So, he gets to play again under Ime Udoka, and they get another guard. Now, Marcus Smart isn't quite, a traditional point guard. He's more like a combo guard, I guess, or defensive than anything. But they didn't really give him too much. So not a bad signing, I guess. San Antonio, they signed Tobias Harris, so they get another forward, a veteran, which I think the team. Well, they had some veterans, but I think Tobias is actually a more playable veteran than some of the guys they had. And he can stretch the floor. So yeah, I think I gave him a bit much. I'm not sure who was competing for him. Or I don't remember off the top of my head, but we'll see. And Indiana signs away Kelly Oubre. I have a feeling he was not returning to the Sixers after they got Dean Wade, and especially after they got Jaylen Brown. We didn't even discuss now it's going to be Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, Dean Wade, and Joel Embiid. On paper, really good team. In practice, Embiid's kind of cooked. But, who knows? See what happens. But Oubre is now with the Pacers, so I can still dislike him. So good for me. Now some small moves. So I'll start us off with Philadelphia signing my beloved Ariel Haporti. Gonna miss you. Really annoyed that he did that though. I get it. He gets a couple 100,000s more for signing with Philly, but you could really use them. But I guess the team was prepared to lose him by when they declined his qualifying offer. So what can you do? Godspeed. Spurs re-sign. Spurs re-sign Harrison Barnes, so bring another veteran back. Brooklyn signs Mo Wagner, which I believe this happened right before Mitchell Robinson signing, and For a while, I think a lot of us thought that they were going to sign Mitch the Nets, but they went a different direction. Maybe Mitch didn't want to go to Brooklyn. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't want to. Magic re-signed Johnson Isaac. He just keeps coming back. It's crazy. Utah Jazz signed Jackson Hayes. Not quite Walker Kessler, but they actually have a lot of big men now. So I don't imagine him playing too many minutes, but we'll see. Golden State brings back the Anthony Melton. Very solid guy when healthy. I don't think he's been that healthy lately. But player I've always liked his game. Magic signed Javon Carter, a bit older. I think one of 3 West Virginia players in the NBA ever. I think like there aren't that many players that have come out of West Virginia. The only other one in the NBA is current Nick at the time of me saying this. Wait, let me check. Yeah. Deuce McBride. Nikola Vucevic returns to the Magic. Pretty cheap deal. And the Celtics sign Mike Conley. So basically, they got real veteran presence. And I didn't know where to put this one, but I thought it was cool. Milwaukee signed their 2025 draft pick in the second round, Bogolju Markovic. Markovic, I'm sure I'm saying right. Bogolju, but I don't know. Sorry. But he looked really promising. Looks like he had a really good year in Europe. Power forward. Really cool. I'm interested to see what he'll become, what he'll turn into. The Bucks suddenly have a bunch of intriguing pieces. I don't think they're very good, but they got a lot of interesting names and young players. All right, so that's the NBA news. Now let's focus on what really matters, the Knicks. So I have another document for that. So as we said, Mitch is going to Boston. 3 years, $47.4 million. Ugly number. 47.4. Oh, that's a weird number. Yeah, Knicks were not gonna offer that. So sucks out to be Boston, but what can you do? Huck 40, 1 year, 3.4 mil. I think the Knicks qualifying offer would have been 2.65 million if he accepted it. So he gets a sizable raise from that. So yeah, and then he'll be a restricted free agent after the year again. So if Philly wants to retain him, they have that power. We'll see though. Otherwise, the same free agents here. Suddenly, Jeremy Sohan is kind of becoming a more of a. My friend, would be nice to. Maybe we need this guy. Oop. Yeah. So he's looked good as a small ball 5. Um, Seems to like the team. He signed with us. After he got waived, want to ring with us. I'd like him back at this point. We'll see. All right, let's skip down to this part here. So I removed Goga Bitadze because he is in fact under contract. So yeah, likely not. Oh, and what he's being paid is a bit much for us to be able to afford. Which not getting paid that much. We just so close to the second apron with a lot of spots to fill that we're not going to do it. So again, same guys basically, though I added a few names. So Nick Richards, he's a big guy, offensive rebounder, should be cheap. Would not be surprised if he's one of the guys we sign. If we do something drastic, Yves Missi, he's definitely the most enticing. and gettable player we could get. He just looks like he'd be the best, more traditional center, or at least a center in a similar mold as Mitch, but of course a lot younger. And again, we would likely have to trade McBride. Now we do have a lot of guards and wings and stuff that are about the same size, but man, I really would not want to lose McBride. So I'm hoping we don't have to do this. But if it happens, I'll be happy with Misi, but I'll also be really sad losing McBride because it'll be more like a what they would call in the NHL like a hockey trade. Basically, both teams like trade players that are like of equal value, but they play different positions. So maybe one team needs a goalie, the other team needs like a center, so they swap. So usually it's more like a winger and a defenseman, or it's usually like a skater, but whatever. Anyway, Kevon Looney, this seems to be the most likely signing of all of these. Um, so when he's played, he's been a good rebounder over his career. He's got a relationship with Mike Brown during his time as the assistant head coach on the Warriors. If I mean, he actually isn't that old. He's only like about 30 or so, roughly. Like he's not that old. He's not DeAndre Jordan, who actually did get signed. I didn't put him in the small moves, but he did happen to sign. Um, but also, he didn't even play much on the Pelicans, folks. He didn't play much on the Pelicans. Now, to be fair, they had Derek Queen, who they were so enamored with that they traded an unprotected first rounder for, and Eve Misi as well. They currently have and they had DeAndre Jordan, so they had a lot of big men. So part of that maybe is why he didn't play much, but also he's maybe a little bit a little cooked, as it were. But he would be cheap. He'd be a solid veteran. He's been on a lot of championship teams with Golden State. Not saying he was like super essential or irreplaceable on them, but he was a piece. And then we got Christian Coloco. I was looking at the free agents available that are centers, and he's one of the younger ones that are just unrestricted that I could find. He was with Atlanta. He was on one of their two-way contracts last season. His main thing is he's cheap. Yeah, that's really it. Yeah, it's pretty slim pickings in free agency. So if it's Nick Richards and Kevon Looney, it'll have to do. If it's Eve Misi from McBride, I'll be really sad, but to lose McBride. But I would be happy getting an actual, good young center. So we'll have to wait and see. Generally, though, Leon Rose and the next front office tend to not let their players reach free agency if they plan on keeping them, or they don't plan on keeping them and they want to use them to acquire another player. So with Mitch, of course, we were contending, so we're not going to trade. We're going to trade him. But a guy like McBride, who, like I said, we have Alvarado, we have Kolek, we have Landry, maybe Dadier, if he's still around. He might take one of those spots. Maybe Tyler Nickel shows up and does something. So we got a lot of guys. But I mean, McBride's just like a dog. He's like a 3-and-D guy, just in like a point guard's body. So yeah, I don't know. I we do need a center though. I just don't like that we have to resort to trading a guy like McBride, who for a time looked like our best bench player too. So, but you got to give something to get something. And if we're not planning on keeping McBride past us here, which is possible, um, getting Misi, who still has an extra year on his contract before he gets a big pay raise might be the move, and maybe we can throw in some picks. I don't know. We'll see what happens. So that's the Knicks basically right now. Oh, good chance also that Jack Kyle may end up playing in Germany, which I know he said he did not want to, like he wanted to play in New York. I want him to play in New York, at least like at Westchester, but team may have other plans. So we'll see what happens. Maybe he impresses in summer league. Maybe we'll see. It's still quite early. Let's check if anything else happened. Do you have in contact with Bradley Beal? Oh man, scary. So yeah, guys, that's basically it. I gave a snapshot of the NBA as a whole and the Knicks. So the Knicks brought back mostly essential guys. Mitch, I think was basically a foregone conclusion that he was gone. But I was a little surprised to see Huck Porty not return. So we are very thin at center right now. So maybe well, also add Sohan to here, though he's the most smallest guy here, but he's a better defender than most of these guys. I'd wager, but he just he's a bit smaller, like 6'8". But small ball five he could work. So I would like Sohan back. I'd welcome him back. But gotta wait and see. So that's free agency day 2. We'll see if anything else wacky happens. If not, I may withhold making another video for a bit. But for now, I'll end it here. So thank you so much. Hope you've been liking, commenting, subscribing. Or if you haven't, you feel the urge, go for it. You could even dislike the video. I don't care. I just want engagement, folks. That's it. See you later. Bye-bye.